Let's say I want to draft out a pattern for this bag. First of all, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to observe it. I'm going to observe the bag very well. How is the front part? Is it slanted? Is there any design that they did in this front part? Then I'll move. Of course, most bags, the front part and the back part has the same shape, the same shape. So the front panel and the back panel of this bag is already the same. So once I can be able to get this front panel, I will be able to draft out my back panel as well. How was this front gotten? So how is the side? How is the side of this bag? How is the bottom part of this bag? So all these things are what I'm going to observe and draft it out. Then after I finish observing it, I will now start drafting out my pattern, just a sketch of what I want. So the front part, I will say this is a box for the front part. You can all see that the front part and the back part is a different panel from the side of this bag, right? This front part is a different panel. It was joined here to this side, and the back is a different panel. So I'm going to draw a box for the front and back, and I'll name it front and back. This is a box for the front and back. Now I'm going to observe, is there any slant on this front? Is there any shape that makes it different from any other bag? So that is what I'm going to observe. From this bag now, you can see that it was slightly slanted from the two sides. So I'm going to slant it, start with the slanting. First of all, you will start with determining the measurement you want to use. To determine the measurement you want to use, you have to check the dimensions of what will be used in that bag. For instance, if this bag is meant to, this is a school bag, right? And we already know that most school bags are for students who carries book to school. So what you are going to do, what age are you making this school bag for? Is it a secondary school boy? Is it a primary school child? So you already know that generally secondary school students have more books than primary school students, and their books, most of their books are long notes. So what you are going to do, you are going to use the dimension of that long note to determine the front and back parts of your bag. That is the height of your bag. So you are going to start with taking the dimension. Let's say we are using this laptop. What I'm going to do is to measure this laptop. This is a 13 inches laptop. When I measure this 13 inches laptop now, then the height of my bag, I'm going to add some allowance. That is this for stitching, sewing, attaching cord. You know the dimension you are going to use. Most of the time, 1 inch is enough. So since this laptop is 13 inches, what I'm going to add is 1 inch to this laptop for my stitching and every other thing. So I'm going to take the dimension, the height of my bag, 14 inches. Now I'm going to take the width, or you can call it the length of our bag. So when I take the length of this bag, I'm also going to add some allowance, 9 inches. That is the length of this laptop. So I'm going to add 1 inch allowance. That is, I will make it 10. Our length now will be 10 inches. So whatever that bag is going to be used for, that is what you are going to use to get the dimension of that bag. Now we are going to determine the depth of our bag. The depth of our bag tells how wide or how spacious we want that bag to be. How many, for instance, how many laptops will be in that bag? Is it only laptop that will be in that bag? We want the bag to contain 4 of this laptop. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to measure the width. The width of this laptop is about 0.75 inches. 0.75 times 4 should be around 3 inches. but I can also increase that 3 inches, add an allowance of one inch. Then I'm going to use 4 inches for that bag. Do you get? So that is how you are going to determine the size of the depth of your bag. Now the depth of the bag is 4 inches from our dimension, 14 inches. Then the length should be 10 inches. 10 inches. Now if I look at this bag, if you observe this bag, you will notice that it was slightly slanted from each end. It was slightly slanted from each end. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to slant this bag. Already I know that the length of this bag is 10 inches. So what I'm going to do, because I'm going to slant it from here, and also I don't want this length to reduce. I'm going to add that dimension that I want to slant to this my measurement. Why I'm drafting it out is that you are going to draft it out and understand exactly what you want to cut before you start cutting your pattern, right? So I'm going to add it here. Now this is a total of, because I want to slant out 0.5 from each end. 0.5. I want to slant out 0.5 from each end. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to add that 0.5 to these 10 inches and make the length of my bag to become 11 inches. Then I'll slant this 0.5 from up this way. Slant it. When I slant it, when I measure 0.5 from each end this way, I'm going to slant it down to the bottom part, just this way. After slanting it, you can also observe that there was a curve at each end of this bag, and the curve at the top of the bag is different from the curve at the bottom part of the bag. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to draw out that curve just the same way it was. I'll draw out the curve this way, the curve this way, right? Then the bottom part, I'll also draw out the curve. Our pattern will now look this way. So this is the dimension. This is 14 inches and this is 11 inches. 11 inches. You can name it a front and back panel. Now, from the usual components of a bag, which contains the front, the back, the base, the top, the sides, we can see that we now have the front and the back of this bag. So now we are going to draft out the sides, the two sides of our bag. The side of our bag was joint from here. So a part of the side has the top and another part of the side. Do you get? This is side 1 and this is side 2, right? So a part of side 1 is attached to the top and another part of side 2 is also attached to the top part. So we are going to draft it out that way. This top part is where our zip is. So a part of side 1 is attached to this top and another part of side 2 is also attached to this top, same as the bottom part. A part of side 1 is attached to the bottom part, and also another part of side 2 is also attached to the bottom part. This is side 1. This is side 2. So what we are going to do now is that we are going to add some dimensions of this side 1 to the top and some dimensions of this side 2 to the top as well. So let's say we are using 3 inches from each side. 3 inches. We'll minus 3 inches from this 14 and also minus 3 inches from another 14 here. So what we are going to have is, for the top part, the top of our bag, we are going to measure we are going to measure 11 plus 3 plus 11 plus another 3. That is 3 from here plus 11 plus another 3 from here. So we are meant to measure this place. Whatever dimension it gives us is what we are going to use for the top, because we have slanted it, so we reduced it by 0.5 from each end. And also we also curved it, so some dimensions have gone out of this 11 inches. So what we are going to do is, after we finish cutting it, we are going to measure this top to know the dimension that the top is taking now. So after measuring it, let's assume that what we got is 8 inches, not 11 inches. So 8 inches, 3 plus 3. 3 plus 3 is 6 inches, plus 8 is 14. So we are using 14 inches. We are going to cut out 17 inches by the depth of our bag, which is 4 inches. So this place will be 4 inches. You can see that the bottom part looks slightly wider a bit than the top part of this bag. Let's assume that this is the middle of our bag. What I'm going to do is that I will measure this 10 inches, the top of our bag. That is 5 inches from this place, 5 inches from this place, total of 10 inches, right? A total of 10 inches, right? So what I'm going to do now is that I'll also measure 5 inches from this place, then join this line. Then I'm going to reduce it by 0.5 from each end. Reduce it because I want my top part, the top part of my bag, to be slimmer than the bottom part. So I'm going to reduce it this way. Then from this place that I reduced, I'm going to slant it. I'm going to slant it just like this. I'm going to slant it. Then this place, I'm going to use my ruler and mark it together. After doing it, this is what it's going to look like. The top part and the side will look something like this. Do you get? Now the bottom part, you can see from this part, we did not touch, we are not going to touch anything here. This part now is going to attach to the second part, to the second side, the second side, which is attached to the bottom part of our bag. So this place, to cut this one now, what we are going to do is that do everything I want to do to my bag. Then I'll use this one, place it on my bag, and after I place it on my bag, the remaining parts of this bag will now be for the bottom part and the remaining sides. I hope you understand. So we are going to start drafting out the pattern now so that you understand more what I mean